It's a free agency frenzy. The NHL free agency opens today, so that means you're getting a new episode fresh off the record here Monday morning. We're going to talk who Minnesota Wild should target. We're going to recap the draft. Plus, we're going to answer a few of your questions. As always, we're created by New Voice Studios, brought to you by Soda Stick, presented by Talk North, Grain Belt, Jim Beam, Livia, and Royal Credit Union. This is Season 5, Episode 234.
At Jim Beam, they know the importance of tradition, like chanting, "Let's play hockey" prior to the start of each game, or playing the state of hockey anthem after a Wild win. This season, raise one to your fan family with the bourbon that invites us all to come as friends and leave as family. Jim Beam Bourbon Whiskey, the official bourbon whiskey partner of the Minnesota Wild and XL Energy Center. Drink smart. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2021. James B. Beam Distilling Company, Incorporated, Fairmont, Kentucky.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Bardown Beauties. We are bringing you fresh, hot episode Monday morning because it's free agency frenzy, ladies and gentlemen. That means NHL free agents are officially on the market. Will Minnesota be jumping into that pool? I don't know. I'm Jessie Pierce, writer for NHL.com. She's Kirsten Kroll, in-arena host and our entertainment correspondent for the National Hockey League. You're welcome. You like that?
That literally makes me so happy you just did that.
Like, I got you.
Print it on a credential for me. That's the goal this year. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I'm getting my separate credential aside from my staff one.
And it'll be great because people are like, I don't know what access this gives you. And you'll be like, it gives me all the access. And they'll be like, okay, sure.
It's access you don't need to know about. Just be online.
Act like you've been there before. Before we talk free agency, Kirsten, the draft happened Friday and over the weekend, the NHL awards happened too. Our boy Brock Faber losing to Connor Bedard. I want to start there because, yes, I know it's like a while ago now that this happened, or at least it feels like it because in the summer time flies by. The biggest problem I had with Brock not winning was the difference in first place votes between him and Connor Bedard. Like that is, It was like what 152 to 47 or something like that. Like that is absolutely absurd.
I think people are just granted, like, yes, you're not going to deny the talent Connor Bedard has, but in a way, like, yeah, it's just people I feel like are so blinded by more so his potential than just taking a look at the season he had as a whole in comparison to Brock Faber. And just kind of discrediting everything Brock did this season is kind of how I interpret just the complete difference in voting.
There was a 5th place vote for Brock Faber. Like, who kicked them off the tour? I just don't understand that. Like, that's where I'm bitter about. Again, we all kind of knew that it was going to be, I wouldn't say a long shot. Like, it was definitely going to be a conversation. And shout out to Marco Rossi, who garnered some votes himself and got himself in there. But I think that was my biggest issue. Like, there's no way there should have been that much of a separation between those two players. Brock should have had a higher voting percentage in that first place because people should have been paying more attention.
1,000%. I could not agree more.
Let's switch gears to the draft. The Minnesota Wild. Here's what I'm loving. Minnesota sports has done this. We saw the Vikings do it during their draft. I didn't pay attention to the Timberwolves. I know you're a Timberwolves fan, so maybe you could tell me how they did in the draft. I don't know.
But first round picks, baby.
There we go. See,
A+ draft rating, I believe, if I'm correct. Now we'll be done talking Wolves because I don't want people yelling at me in the comments.
We'll be done. We're all NHL. I particularly loved the aggressiveness that we are seeing from Minnesota sports teams. Again, you're seeing the Vikings make some moves to get their guys. You saw the Minnesota Wild do that. Judd Brackett trading up just one spot to get Zeev Boyum, who we have talked about. Never thought he would fall down to the Wild, who ended up getting him at number 12. Hell of a defenseman, NCAA champ, World Junior Gold Medal winner, good kid all around. Pretty pumped on that pick, Kirsten.
NCHC alum, defenseman. You know how I feel about my defenseman. That made my heart happy. In a way, I kind of felt like I was heard because I forget how long ago it was, but we had talked about what the Wild needs or just even their prospect pool. And my answer is always defenseman. You'll see them go for a center, but they need defenseman. I feel like they finally listened to me and they picked a defenseman. And I'm so happy. But I was shocked. I was at work. And he was projected to be taken 6th overall by Utah. And then I saw him just continue to keep falling. And I was like, no way. And then I was kind of thinking, because we had talked the way the Wild were talking, they were going to go defenseman in this year's draft.
Mhm.
And so then I was thinking, I was like, there's no way they move up just a couple of spots to grab him. But then Philly was up at the podium or was on the clock. And then it was announced Minnesota's traded. As soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, I know exactly what this is.
Yes, I loved
Amazing.
it, and you could see the genuine excitement. Now, granted, I think any 18-year-old is gonna be pretty darn pumped to be picked by a player. I loved, Sinicki's, I'm gonna butcher the hell out of that name, who went number 3 to the Ducks, and the genuine shock and awe. He was like, "That's me? Like,
Yes,
they're drafting me?" Like, I love that for that kid.
I do too. It became a meme. He is now a GIF, if you will. Not even a meme, a GIF.
Just absolutely ridiculous. The Minnesota Wild getting a steal, and this is coming from the mouth of Aaron. Why did they pick names? I can't say. Aaron Kivahoru, 4th rounder, born in Denmark, played in Finland, was supposed to be a top draft pick coming into this year, but he had missed about 200 days of hockey. That obviously dropped his draft stock. What I love about this kid, he went up to Bill Guerin and said, "You just got the effing steal of the year, my man." And I love that. Billy G loved it. Incredible. I think it's fantastic. I'm excited to see what he could do because I think that's also tough, right? Like you're coming back from injury, but he's not projected to jump in next year. It'll be fine. Like he will have time to regain. But I love the confidence. I love kind of the cockiness, the swagger. Since Bill Guerin loves to talk about swagger, I'm excited to see how he can turn out.
Billy eats that stuff up.
Yes, like he was just like, "This is the greatest
He's
thing."
like, I knew we did good here.
Oh, just incredible. Now, Judd Brackett did say he still has faith in the defenseman in Iowa. They only picked one forward in the draft. I don't know. What do you think happens with Damon Hunt and Spacek and Carson Lambos and Ryan O'Rourke? I mean, they drafted a bunch of blue liners. That kind of puts the writing on the wall for maybe the future of some of those guys.
Yeah, I think it does. We saw glimmers of some of them this season and meh, just meh.
Yeah.
And then Iowa themselves, granted, we pretty much had half of their team on the big roster all season, but Iowa also not doing very good at all this year.
No, and you need to think about their future as well, and it'll be interesting. The only other big kind of move so far for them as well, we're recording this at 8:30 in the morning on Monday. That's our dedication to you folks. Vinny Lettieri gets moved to Boston, where he has some experience in exchange for 24-year-old Jacob Lauko. It's and a 4th round pick. I don't know. It was fine to me. I think I liked what Vinny did here last year. I think he asserted himself instead of using that 2-way contract. Once he was up until he got hurt. Lauko has the youth though, which I'm excited to see if a change of scenery will do him good.
Yeah, honestly, it's a good spot for Vinny to land to. Out in Boston, good team out in Boston. The only other move that I saw, if you're looking more down on the farm, Adam Beckman, I believe, to New Jersey.
That was like last week, a minor, like 1-for-1. I suppose we didn't talk about it because I was it's, for Graham Clark, Minnesota kid, which is, we love that. But even looking at it, was very apples to apples with those two, right? Like their stats and like the way that they played, their size. I think that one will be really good for Adam Beckman in particular. Just
I bring it up more for all of the Adam Beckman believers on this podcast who might be going through the stages of grief right now.
I know, right? All right, Kirsten, before we dive into a couple cues, I want to talk free agency. That's why we were recording today. That's why we are getting this episode knocked out of the books early because free agency officially opens today. I get anxiety. Like last night, I couldn't sleep. Like I don't know why, because I don't think Minnesota is going to be particularly active because, as we know, that salary cap doesn't allow them to. I think they've got just shy of 6 after the Lauko trade. I get so anxious, like I'm going to miss something. It's kind of like trade deadline day where I'm just like, oh, what's happening? Now, the thing about free agency is a lot of these guys, where they're going right away, right? Well, we saw the trade with Gensel, and now he's extended in Tampa because Tampa wasn't going to sign him if he wasn't going to make something happen. A lot of those big names come off the board very quickly, but I still just get very anxious when the Wild make moves. I think it's because I have to be that knee-jerk reaction. I don't do well with that.
Yes. Oh, I hear your dog.
She doesn't do well with that either.
No, she doesn't. She's not having it. No, I don't see the Wild making any big splashes, but I definitely we see them being active. We've seen Bill Guerin not ever be one to just sit back and do nothing. I would say today, just looking at the NHL as a whole, well, one Marshall show, I probably
Yeah.
just butchered his name.
No,
Sorry,
Marchessault,
everybody.
Jonathan Marchessault. Freaking love him. My
That's
favorite
hard for
name.
me on a Monday morning.
Mhm.
That one's gonna be a big one to keep your eye on. But the bigger one, I would say even today, maybe we would know Steven Stamkos. Where's he going? I've
Right.
heard Carolina, Nashville, and Vegas for Stamkos thrown around in the ring.
And it sounds like he wants about 4 to 5, which seems fair. I think Tampa came in a little low at 3. But Stamkos is old, and he's been hurt quite a bit. Hell of a leader. He's a big name. I think you've also got a couple guys with oh my God, I just blanked. I just had it, and now I just completely spaced on.
It's okay.
who I
It's
was
Monday
thinking.
morning. It's not even 9 a.m. You're doing
I know,
amazing,
but I'm better.
sweetie.
You keep doing you. You're doing absolutely amazing. Sam Reinhart, big extension with the Panthers. That's the other interesting thing, is that Florida team is going to be cleaned out.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You
they
know?
won their cup now. They won their cup.
They won their cup. Tyler Bertuzzi, that's who I was thinking. Or I think it's been rumored that he's going to go to, not Detroit. See, I don't even know. That's where I'm lacking. I just read it. I just saw it the other day. Last night.
It's okay.
Tyler Bertuzzi. Somewhere. He's going somewhere. Jake
I love his name. It's just fun to say.
Matt Duchene. You know what? Matt Duchene with the Dallas Stars. Speaking of the Dallas Stars, you know what? We have not had a moment to recap the buyout of Ryan Suter. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, how the turntables.
I don't want to laugh or take joy in someone else. I don't feel bad, I guess, because it's not like he's not getting paid. He didn't get fired and isn't getting paid. He's still getting paid an exorbitant amount of money to not play.
Yeah, now he's getting paid by 2 teams to not play.
I find it kind of freaking hilarious.
It's something. So what's Mr. Suter going to be doing now?
I mean, you'd have to think he's still, I know Dallas really struggled with him toward the end of the year. He still eats up those minutes. There's got to be a team that would be willing to take him for a low amount of money. I don't know that Suter is the type of guy that's going to say, sure, I'll play in a 6-7 defenseman role, though. And I think that's where he's at in his career.
For sure. And I feel like that would be really hard as well to kind of go from taking on a higher role in your career to all of a sudden being put in the back seat.
Yeah. Tough scene. Tough scene for Ryan Suter. Couldn't have happened to a better. Just kidding.
Jesse. Wow.
He's always been very nice to me.
Gunning this morning.
I know, right? Making up for my lack of knowledge this early. I think, so let's focus on the Minnesota Wild. Who or what do you think that they should focus in on at free agency? I'm going a forward. I would love to say a top 6 winger. I don't know if they can pull that off. I swear to God, if they go with David Perron, I will lose my freaking mind. Like, I can't do that. I know he's on the list of free agents to watch. I know he's valued. I know he's the type of guy that Bill Guerin would love. He is old, and I can't do that with him. So that's my biggest concern, is that's exactly the type of player that Bill Guerin's going to go for. I've recently seen Patrick Laine swirled around. He is still in the Players Assistance Program, I believe. So I don't know the technicalities of when they could go get him. I worry he'd be very expensive. I think there's still some value, and I would love to see, because I think Laine, feel bad, he's never really gotten to where he could and should be, right? Like, I just think there's been things holding him back. So I think I'd take him skill-wise over Perron. But I also, I think that would eat up most of your cap.
They're going to break up the Air Fryer Boys in Columbus.
What is this? What is the Air Fryer Boys?
It was like, I don't fully know.
They taught him how to use the air fryer, a steak.
Yeah, Fantilli. Right?
Yes.
And the air fryer became a big thing because I think Adam was living with him.
That's cute.
I know. It was funny. I just thought that that was my little thing. You didn't get it at first.
But I figured it out. See how quick I turned?
You did.
This is the entertainment correspondent bringing you live things. That's what you did.
That's exactly what I did. I'm giving you what the people want to know.
Exactly. Do you want to see them go forward? Should they go defenseman? Should they can't.
I think, and this goes against everything that I say, defense kind of is what it is right now, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just is what it is, but we're going to get Spurgeon back. That's huge.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel a little bit better about the state of the defense. You get your leader back on the ice, one of your most solid defensemen. I would agree. I would think you need to bolster your offensive depth just a little more. Get more secondary scoring. I would love to see a top 6 forward, but like you had said, just to piggyback off you, if you're old, I ain't interested. We
I ain't
need
interested.
youth. We need youth. We need speed. We need finesse. That is what
Yes.
we need.
You need to get Kirill Kaprizov excited yet again. I think anybody under 30, I'm okay with. Like Anthony Mantha, 29, I would maybe look at him. Elias Lindholm, I would take him.
Sorry for anyone who thought we were getting Gensel.
Warren Fogle, I would take him. Jonathan Drouin, Anthony Duclair, I wouldn't take him. I would take Jake DeBrusk. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You've
I
said
might.
that before.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I would take Tyler Bertuzzi.
You've said that name as well.
Yeah. I just think they'd be fun. They'd be fun to cover.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to go with. Let us know who you think Minnesota should take. Do you think they're going to sign? All right, this is my final question on free agency. And again, we will keep you updated as best we can via socials. We're just trying to get this ep out, coming in hot. Kirsten, do you think they bring Matt Dumba back during free agency?
I wouldn't be shocked. I was actually like, that was one of like my pillow thoughts last night as I was falling asleep. It was like, is Matt Dumba going to be coming back to Minnesota for the right amount of money? And I do think even too, like Dumba would probably be willing to take like, I feel, and this sounds bad. I was trying to tread
it's not his
hometown deal, but
just,
also I think his value has kind of gone down after this season. And I say
Right.
that respectfully, but given the opportunity, just the way everyone in the organization loves Dumba, he does have upside to him, especially with like our defense right now. He wouldn't be the worst defenseman. I think if the price is right, Dumba might come home. That ended up kind of just sounding really like, please come home.
Bill loves it. I know, like people are like, why are you in on the Dumba? I'm like, I just, it makes sense. Again, in my mind, it's something that Bill Guerin would do. It makes sense. That's all I got. That's the only reason.
Makes
There's no
sense.
other reason. I think that's enough. It makes
I agree.
sense. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got a couple of your cues, and then that's going to do it for this week's episode. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Jessie Pierce for Livia Weight Control Centers, and we are celebrating summer. Livia wants to help you get healthier and more active so you can enjoy everything our beautiful summer days have to offer. Whether it's weekends at the lake or picnics in the park, summer is so much better when you feel better. And right now, you'll get 3 months absolutely free when you join Livia's doctor-recommended and award-winning program. Call Livia today and lose up to 10 pounds or more in your first 2 weeks. Now that's a reason to celebrate. I know for me, the one-on-one support that I get from my Woodbury clinic has been a game changer, you guys. I could not have reached my goal without their help. I've lost nearly 40 pounds and have kept it off for over a year. And you can too. Make the most of summer. Join today and get your first 3 months of Livia's nutrition plan for free. Visit Livia.com. That's Livea.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Plus, new at Livia, semaglutide and tirzepatide weight loss medications. Visit Livia and call 855-GO-LIVIA for their one-on-one nutrition and medical support. Choose the trusted leader in serving our communities for the past 15 years. That's Livia. All right, little cues with the beats, cues with the beats. You know what? Girl on the Couch basically stole my thing, right? Like that's cues with the beats. It's just not as catchy as I'm looking for a man in finance.
I didn't even know who you were talking about at first. I was like, who? I know that song.
Yeah, Girl on the Couch.
I live for that song.
Pretty solid. I do. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But cues with the buttes, almost as catchy. Basket of Adorable would like to know, will re-signing Declan Chisholm and a short-term aging middle six forward be enough to keep Kaprizov and re-sign?
No. It won't.
No.
Chisholm, love him. And I do think he was a steal getting him off of waivers from Winnipeg this season. So I'm excited about him, but we had just talked about this, you need someone younger, someone with speed, with finesse. You need to bolster your offense. So no, somebody on the back end of their career is not going to cut it.
Mm, no. Chisholm, one of the players offer sheeted the other, or qualifying offers, excuse me. Restricted free agents, they've got a little bit of time to figure that one out. Mason Shaw, one that was not given a qualifying offer. Speaking of him, our friends over at the Fab Five want to know what will happen with Mason Shaw. It would be nice if they could find a way to keep him somewhere in the organization one more year at last year's guarantee. I love Mason Shaw. I love the story. It's so great. It's kind of run its course, I think, here again from the professional standpoint. Yes, like and I think Bill Guerin did right by him. Like they, kept him around. They kept him last year, gave him the opportunity to rehab his way in Iowa, come back up, and he's got value still too. I think it's run its course here. Will he get picked up by somebody else as he's a free agent now? I don't know. I would love to see someone else give him a shot because he is a heart and soul kind of guy. And I think that's where his biggest value truly is. Like, again, I think he does a lot of the right things on the ice too, but I think he's definitely that heart and soul guy. I don't know that we need to find a spot for him in the organization though. I think he's fine. He'll be okay.
See, that's the thing though. Like in Minnesota, when people love their guys, they want to keep them around. So I think that's just kind of funny and like cute and very wholesome. Like maybe in the organization, if he's not playing, we can give him a role. And I love it. Like we love our guys. And I love to think that our guys that come through here, they love Minnesota. You even see it too, like them spending their off season here, like all of the guys bonding, going out places together. But I mean, as far as Mason Shaw, the hockey player on the Minnesota Wild, I agree. I don't know if he necessarily has a role on the roster this upcoming season.
No, and he's too young to find him a front office shot.
Yeah, there's that. There's that. And that's not what he wants. He wants to play. He has not worked this hard 4 times.
Yeah.
To not play.
Exactly. It is endearing. Good kid. Doug Munson wants to know, we already kind of talked about it a little bit in the first half, but Patrick Laine, what would it take to bring him other than Columbus eating a huge chunk of that salary, which I think is the biggest holdup is Columbus needs to eat at least half of that 8.1 that he's making. So I don't know. I don't think it would take too much otherwise. I think Columbus wants to move him. I think Patrick Laine wants to go. I think he'd be a good fit here. I would be very curious to see what he would be capable of. I think he'd slot into a top 6, but the salary is the big thing. If they can get that knocked down, then I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, I feel like that one might be a little bit more of a stretch, but it would be cool to have him here. Lot of upside with him. Yeah. Wow, I'm so insightful, giving so much info on this Monday morning.
This one, you got this one. All right. Who is your Minnesota Mount Rushmore? So Minnesota hockey players. I'm going to go with Minnesota born versus Wild players. I think that's how I'm going to interpret that from O-Train. I think there's just more to pick from in that realm.
Minnesota born hockey players. Yeah. I can't just do Wild players.
You wanted Wild play? Do you want Wild players?
I feel that's easier than thinking of the Minnesota. Well, no. Okay.
I mean, not for me.
Okay. I'd put Brock Besser on there.
Okay. All right.
Brock Besser's going up.
Herb Brooks is on my Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Oh, well, if we're going old school like that, I was kind of thinking more current NHL. Oh, you can't put Herb Brooks and Brock Besser on Mount Rushmore together.
But your Mount Rushmore
so different.
Have you never done the Mount Rushmore exercise?
No.
Oh, so Mount Rushmore is like, these are your guys. Like, these are the 4, like, in Vikings history, these are your 4 guys. It's Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Justin Jefferson, and I don't know. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the quarterback. Whatever. Anyway, don't come at me, guys. Please don't come at me. I'm not in football mode right now. But it's like your the all-timers of Minnesota hockey.
See, you can't. That's
okay. All right. I'm not trying to. We could do Wild players, the all-time Wild.
Yeah, I would rather do that because there's so many Minnesota hockey legends, and then I throw out Brock Besser, and immediately you're like Herb Brooks.
I did.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I
Because I'm
followed
gonna
Brock
forget
Lesnar.
somebody, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this girl's what is she thinking?" No, we're not doing that.
Well, first of all, nobody's ever gonna be happy with any of all the
No.
selections anyway, so we need to get that part out of our brains anyway,
No,
but
but
yeah,
we're not doing Brock Betzer and Herb Brooks.
it's an odd one. It's an odd one, but, I was gonna take
Ugh.
it. Alright, so
I was
wild
thinking, like,
players.
current NHL, everybody. Minnesota Wild, Mount Rushmore, you get Marian Gaborik up there. You get Kirill Kaprizov. We're getting the 2 obvious ones. I'm thinking history, impact players on the Wild organization. Now I'm kinda blanking a little bit.
Andrew Brunette.
Brunette, yes.
Um, I love Nick Schultz, but I think you need a
No.
goalie. I think you either need to go Josh Harding or Manny Fernandez,
Mm,
right?
yeah. I'm not as familiar with their game because I was young,
Yeah,
but
I know.
I'll take
See,
your
I
word
got you.
for
See,
it.
that's where we could come together. I've got the old, you can figure out the young. But
Mhm.
yes, Kirill and Marion. I have such a hard time with Marion Gabrick, though. He's very
Has he
it's a
left us?
love-hatred thing for him. Yeah, it's not I don't get on the side of, "Oh, he leaved us, he didn't like us, blah, blah, blah." It's the injuries, but he still
Mm,
was tremendous, right? Like,
yeah.
and you know what? People are gonna be real pissed off that we didn't say Mikko Koivu.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Neither of us change it. We're like, "Oh, we should say" no, neither of us change our mind.
Again, this
We
is
only
the
got
hard
4. We
thing
only got
about
4.
hockey in Minnesota. Minnesotans and Wild fans specifically are so loyal to their guys that come through here. When they love somebody, they love them. Mikko Koivu is a guy who was adored.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
far it's I'm just digging my hole on a Monday morning. I don't know. Like, yes, he had impact, obviously, but I don't know. Just on the ice, I feel there's people who have impacted more
Yeah. I mean, I
on the
think
ice.
probably Darby, you could argue for him. You could argue for Brent Burns. I don't
You're
know.
giving me 4 people.
I
That's
know.
hard.
It's
It's
super
hard.
hard. It's cutthroat, man. It's cutthroat. We're gonna go with it. All right. Let us know who you saw on your Mount Rushmore. Next question, Hockey and Loud Music wants to know, which NHL city would you least like to have the same job as you do now? So, as an in-arena host and as an NHL beat writer, I would hate to cover. Trying to think of just a really sad team. Because San Jose is going to be fun, so I'm not going to go.
They're gonna be fun now.
Chicago still would be very fun to
I would
work
I
in.
love Chicago. Chicago's one of my favorite cities.
I think it's gotta be Montreal. I don't think I'd do well there.
Ooh, it's more I think we've talked about this before. The fans are just so dedicated, it's brutal.
Yeah, and they're not great. Like, I don't think I'd do well there. I don't speak French,
Oh, yep, I don't either.
I think that could be a problem. It'd be cool, but Montreal sticks out to me the most. St. Louis, I've never liked St. Louis. Like, the city
Why?
itself, I don't know. I went and played when I was in college, I played club lacrosse and we played a tournament there. And I wasn't that impressed with the city. I don't know.
Mm.
Sorry.
Never been, but I hear a lot of people complain about St. Louis. I'm gonna keep an open mind there. I'm not gonna cancel them out.
Okay.
And this isn't even bitterness or recency bias or anything. I just feel like a place I probably wouldn't is honestly the Florida Panthers. Truthfully.
It'd be weird, especially for your role, right? Like, I don't know. Their fan base seems kind of like up and down, hit or miss.
I
So it's
feel
like,
like it seems like they have a very and I apologize in advance if there's any dedicated diehard Florida Panthers fans listening to this podcast right now. I feel they have a lot more like local fans, and what I mean by that is lately, especially like the celebrities we've seen cheering for the Panthers have been good. And especially now having just won a Stanley Cup, everyone wants a taste of that. Everyone wants a piece of that. So you've got just very, very casual fans right now. But like, I want to know what the Florida Panthers look like with their fan base when they start the season 2-15. What
and
does that look like?
when they have none of the same team returning next year.
Yup.
Like,
So I just
yeah, that'd be a
I
tough one.
feel I would not enjoy Florida.
that'd be a tough one. I think that's fair. All right, PG-13 Hockey Man wants to know best high school hockey arenas.
I don't know the name of it, but the one in Duluth, that
Oh
barn is
yeah.
sick.
I think it's a hippodrome, isn't it? I know there's a lot of
Yep,
hippodromes, but I
yep,
think it's like Heritage Hippodrome or something, right?
yep, I think you're right. That's
Yeah, that one's
definitely
cool.
up there for me.
Mhm. I would say, I mean, it's not anymore, and I don't know if it counts as a high school because it was just mostly um, for state, but the Coliseum was just incredible. Like
Oof.
it was so freaking good. I mean, any old barn really is though. If you go up on the
Mhm.
Iron Range, I'll say International Falls because I've been up to that one. That one's really cool. They're freezing, right? But I feel like a good
Yep.
high school hockey rink is cold.
Mhm.
You know, so I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm like one of the newer ones that I think is really awesome, Orono, they have a super nice rink, but it
Oh,
doesn't
do
have
they?
like the history to it.
Yeah,
It's just new and super nice. But no, for me personally, I'm very much old school, give me the classic, give me the rustic. So, definitely you get a lot more of that up north.
a little bit of like a burnt popcorn and hockey smell with the like not stinky, but it just
Mhm.
has that fragrance, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, also, like, and I know you didn't ask me about college rinks, but that's why I love St. Cloud State's rink so much too. It's like there's just history there. Like, it's old. It's not the nicest arena by any means. So
their
many
old
parts
one,
of it
not the
are
Herb Brooks Center.
outdated. Um, and I don't know. I love it. I love it.
You talking about the Herb Brooks Center?
Yeah, the Herb Brooks National
But
Hockey
that's
Center.
new, isn't it?
I'm
They just
it's
updated
it's
it. That's
been they
yeah.
updated the atrium, that's brand new, but that's,
Okay,
like, the
maybe that's what I'm
entrance when you
thinking
walk
of.
in. I'm talking about, like, the actual
Okay,
rink.
okay, that's fair.
Like,
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
think
it looks
really
very cool.
anything's and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anything's really changed since, like, even Herb Brooks was there on the inside of
Herb
the area.
Brooks.
Well, no, I don't
Mm,
even know if I take that back. I don't know if they even had the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center when he was there. I think they were
no,
playing somewhere else.
yeah, I'm pretty
But
sure.
Craig Dahl, his era, it's been around for over 20 years.
Okay, that's see, I didn't know that. I just remember
Mhm.
doing a story when they had like I think you're probably right. It's probably just like a revamped when they like did the whole thing and like renamed it and everything like
Yeah.
that.
That was
So
the atrium, not the
okay, yeah, it was a
yes.
while ago.
See, that's why you need to come with me to a game. That's why I'm trying to take you.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen this year. We didn't do much college hockey attendance this year because we had the Frozen Four. You
I
know,
feel like I
like
did a lot of college
as fans, you
hockey.
and I didn't go to any this year together.
I not
Okay.
together. I was up in St. Cloud like twice for games. I went to North Dakota and then I went to Western Michigan. I got my college hockey fix this year, but I
Yeah,
could always use more.
I didn't. Final cues with the Buttes question comes to us from Alex Leonard. Way too early Stanley Cup, Walter Cup, men's Frozen Four, and women's Frozen Four winners. I will just go with your Stanley Cup champs are going to be the New York Rangers because they let me down. Nope, nope, nope. It's gonna be the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars are gonna win next year.
Ick, get out of here.
The Walter Cup champs, it's going to be Toronto. I think you're looking at the Frozen Four will be Denver. Denver could repeat, right?
They could.
They could. They've still got a pretty young squad. I think everyone's going back. Maybe not. Women's, Wisconsin.
Women's Ohio State.
It's always yeah. Ohio State was my second.
Ohio Nadine Mazeral, man, she terrifies me, but she's good. She's a super nice lady. Every encounter, she's super nice, but like I say scary because she's intense.
Fair.
Like if you play for her, you're working. Like
Yeah.
yeah, but she
Yeah.
cares about her team so much. And now I'm just going on a rant. No, women's, I say Ohio State. College, I'm trying to think of who's picked up some really good recruits. I think Minnesota's going to be in the mix. Honestly, I think the Gophers are going to be in the mix. So I'm going
I
to
only didn't
say
say them because I didn't want to say it just for bias opinion. But I was like, I feel
you
like
have
they've
a
got
lot
this
of biased
team.
opinions already going this morning. But no, the Gophers, that incoming class that they currently have, the returners that they have, I think their team's going to be strong. So if they don't win, they're still going to be in the mix. I think at least going to the Frozen Four. Way too early Stanley Cup. I would say Carolina. I'm not actually going Carolina. We're moving on from that because I think maybe they have reached their point, not knowing, at least when I last looked, not knowing where Brady Shea's going, Jake Gensel moving on. Stanley Cup winner. See, this is my problem. I take way too long. Like, I really just like take my time to think.
I mean, it's an absurdly early prediction, so it can be
Colorado.
Okay.
Boom. Colorado, because I hate Dallas and I will not give them the time of day or a thought. And then women's Toronto. I agree with Toronto.
Toronto's coming back with vengeance. Yeah, cool. Those are our cues. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for checking out our new episode released today. Let the free agency frenzy begin. We should have some updates throughout the course of the week and throughout the summer. Development camp starts next week. Looking forward to that. Checking in with some of those young bucks, including your first round pick this year, Zeev Boyum, as well as Charlie Strammel and a couple of other guys that will be bouncing around there in St. Paul. Yeah, until then, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye. It almost sounded like Mickey Mouse there.